Good morning. Today we're going to go to the Sierra Nevada mountains. And we're going to virtually, by way of our imaginations, go there. Or maybe for you, maybe you're going back there. Or maybe you're looking forward to walking there. I've never been there, but I know a couple of people who hiked when they were much younger, and they had a photograph. And that photograph is what I used from them. So the card that I painted is a gift to them. I wonder how different it looks there now. I think he's 86. She's probably similar. So, let's say they were in their 20s. So 60 years ago they were 26. He was 26. I bet it looks no different. I bet it doesn't look much different. I hope it doesn't look any different. Anyway, I also hope they like the card, because I wanted to give them something. He's told me so many stories of hiking out there, and of course he laughs at me, because he doesn't laugh at me, he just laughs. I tell him I'm hiking now, and he still hikes, by the way. He's 86 and he still hikes. He doesn't do Sierra Nevada, he does, well, like what Robert and I do. We walk around the trails that are here in our own neighborhood, or not just the neighborhood, but we drive maybe as far as Orlando, which is almost 100 miles, just to find a trail. There's a lot of nice trails, but the trails, here's where he laughs at, because I always look for trails that have been paved, or at least cleared. A lot of times Rob and I do walk on dirt paths, but they're very cleared, and they're marked. We don't have a compass. But yet when he was younger, that's what he did. Him and his wife, they were in their 20s and they walked, they climbed mountains. I mean, the stories he tells are just unbelievable. I was working in a radio station in my 30s. I was playing guitar in my 20s and playing bars. So the highest I climbed was to the stage, 2 feet, 4 feet. Wasn't even a big stage. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let me show you how I painted the Sierra Nevada. And I have a nice poem by Kate Seymour McLean. So hang in there. Thank you for watching, by the way. And if your first time, I'm Poppa. This is Poppa Paints. All right, here we go. Good morning. It's hard to imagine something as vast as the Sierra Nevada being captured in a little 5 by 7 inch greeting card. However, that's my task. My task right now. Because the person who will get this card hiked this place I never have. My hiking is limited to trails that are kind of made. I don't make my own trails. It's kind of funny, but I admire. Oh my gosh. And physical accomplishments, being able to walk the Sierra Nevada, or being able to run a marathon, those are incredible. But it's kind of like with art, we all have our own have our own things that we do. And I'm going to change paint. By the way, I'm using yesterday's paint. And now I'm going to use, and it's all gouache today. I'm just trying to have some different colors. So I think I will use some new, because I want the sky to be a little bluer. I could mix white with it, I guess. You know, I do have white on here. Let's see if that helps. I want the sky to be lighter than that. Oh, see, I didn't need anything. I could use the old paint from yesterday. A little bit blue. Wait a minute. I'm not so sure I like that blue. I know blue is blue, right? But I'm going to use this. What is this one called? Ultramarine. That's what that one is. Let's see what this one is. Cerulean blue. You know, from the old school. I am from the old school. Blue is blue and red is red. But, you know, the new school has all these colors. That might be more of the color I want. That looks almost like blue-green, so... Well, we'll see. We'll see if it's a color I want. I'm going to water it down a lot. Yeah, it's not bad. And you want to know something, mixed with these other colors. Yeah, not the other colors, plural, but I mean the other blue. It might just be good. So I think I'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's kind of like a recipe for muffins. Right? People put... It seems like I'm not a cook, a baker, but it seems like there's a lot of stuff in muffins. I don't know what you guys put in them. The chefs out there, what do you put in a muffin? All I know is they're good. They're better when they're warm, right? You like a warm muffin. Speaking about hiking, it's interesting how when I am with people who are regularly running and hiking, how they often start their day with the high carb things like muffins and bagels, right? So this is going to be, hopefully, a picture, a painting of the Sierra Nevada mountains. There's a place out there, I don't know where this reference photo is from exactly, other than it's in the high Sierras, or the Sierra Nevada. And I'm even confused about if there is a difference between those two. I looked it up just to try to educate myself, and I'm still confused. But there we go, just a little bit of that. Put that white. Yeah, so I'm using the dried gouache from yesterday to do this. Well, that's it. That's the whole sky. I actually think that today's picture is going to be pretty easy. Pretty easy. Now, the ground in the foreground is kind of a very pale orange, sort of like that. You see, I'm using the primary colors, blue, yellow, and red, and white. I have white in there too. I'm going to try to do this painting with those primary colors. And so for this bottom color, I want it to be almost that off color pink, so it's the red and the white and the orange and the blue kind of all mixed together. Did I leave any out? The red and the white and the yellow. No, they're all in there. So they're all into the mix here. But I just want to get these colors down here while that dries up there. And just get these foreground colors, because it looks like the Sierra Nevada area, these mountains, it looks like they are very barren. It looks like there's a lot of grass and green, but there's also a lot of big rocks that just are there, and that's kind of what I'm trying to set the stage for here. It's the big barren rocks, the big boulders that are here. And then in the foreground here, how do I do this? See, I gotta wait for that to dry over there. But while it's drying, let me go ahead and get some of this light. I'm gonna use some white and some blue. Almost make it gray blue. Yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna pull this one off. I hope I do it right. Let's try to get some of this here. Get some green in there. There's a big valley right here. A big valley. Okay, I have to wait for that to dry, because this is not going to work if I go too close to the wet area up there. Believe it or not, that part's almost dry already, so I can sort of kind of try to mix my blue and my yellow and get some greens in there. A little bit more. Just to kind of set the stage for what's to come. Here's some of the foreground things. Just little areas here. Some of these dark and sharp-edged rocks over here. Dark and sharp-edged rocks. Mixing red and blue, which almost makes a purple. Well, it does make a purple, but I'm trying to keep it from being obvious. Big boulders. So the person who this car is going to is it's actually a couple. They both hiked the Sierra Nevada, and it wasn't recently. It was years ago. I thought it'd be nice to send them a card with something they might remember. That's a funny thing about our memories, is we kind of like going back in our memories. If you're ever with somebody and you are at a loss for conversation, if you know anything about them at all, ask them a question about something they did when they were younger, something they probably love going back to in their memory. You know, especially an accomplishment of some sort, something they're proud of. All right, I'm just gonna keep that like that. We sort of have the very rough foundation for what we want to do. It's very wet up there still, so I'm going to let that dry. And while it's drying, I have a poem. It's called In the Sierra Nevada. Do you know where the Sierra Nevada is, by the way? If you're not from America, it's in the western part of the USA. And it's I'm going to say where California meets the state of Nevada. So I'm not sure about it. Also, there's a mountain there called Mount Whitney, which is a tall mountain, which might be the picture I'm painting. I'm not really sure. But anyway, here's a poem by Kate Seymour McLean, and it's called In the Sierra Nevada. I lift my spirit to your cloudy thrones and feel it broaden to your vast expanse. Oh, mountains so immeasurably old, crowned with bald rocks and everlasting cold that melts not underneath the sun's fierce glance. Peak above peak, fixed, dazzling, ice and stones. Down your steep sides, quick torrents leap and roar, and disappear in gloomy gorges sunk, fringed with black pines on dizzy verges, high poised, trembling to the thunder and the cry of the lost waters through each giant trunk, and farthest twig and tassel evermore. And that's true. You think about it, you see a large tree in a very barren area, and that tree pretty much holds the water. That's an interesting observation. She goes on to write, behold far down the mountain herdsman's ranch, the rough road winding past his lonely door, and in his ears by day and night the sound of mad waves plunging down the gulfs profound, the tempest's gathering cry, the dull, deep roar, and the long thunder of the avalanche. Yeah, wow, that is very visual. And she continues, night broods along the valleys while your peaks are pink and purple with the rays of morn, and filmy tints that swim the depths of space, to reach and kiss you first upon the face, before the world awakes, the day is born, to flush with colder gleam your rugged cheeks. Wow, that's a really great way of describing it. The way the sun comes up, and the first part of the world that the sun hits is the peak of the mountain. And then she writes, and last and longest lingering, the light is on your mighty foreheads, when the sun sets in the sea and makes a palace fair for his repose of crystal wave and air. You seem to stoop and smile to look upon the fallen monarch from your silent height. Well, that's true too. At the end of the day, same thing happens, right? The light, just before the day is done, the last place to have that light is the top of the mountain. She has two more verses. Valleys are green about your rocky feet, and sweet with clambering vines and waving corn, and breath of flowers and gold of ripening fruit. Cities send up their smoke, and man and brute beneath your wide embrasure have been born and died for ages, and yet you hold your seat. I lift my spirit up to you and seem to feel your vastness penetrate my soul, and faintly see far off and looming broad, and dread the grandeur of the world of God, and thrill to be a part of the great whole which towers above me, a stupendous dream. Oh my goodness, yes, I agree. Kate Seymour McLean, yes, it's impossible to even fathom the amazing grandeur, am I saying that word right, of God's creation. So now I want to do the distant mountains, the ones that are hidden by that mist that she wrote about. And I'm not going to get it exactly right, but they're over there. They're peeking out through the valley. Yeah, those mountains are over there. So, it's something I have missed out on because I have not hiked up here. And I don't think it's accessible by a car. I think you have to hike. Oh, I was a little premature right there, that right there. There's our distant mountains right there. And there's our distant hills. Now that needs to dry, and I need to put some of the foreground stuff. So let me put it's like a mid-ground and a foreground, and it goes in several layers. Like here's the closest part, and through here, and then we have this part, which is second, and then third, and then fourth, and then of course the sky would be fifth. So let me try to grab some more of this green and get some of these little areas of darkness here. Go ahead and make it dark without using the color black. Just kind of get some of these rocks in here. There's plenty of rocks in the foreground. Large boulders. And the sun seems to be coming from that way. So my hiking, I do enjoy the hiking that Robin and I do. There's always going to be somebody who's done something greater than I have done. There's always going to be a better artist. There's always going to be a better videographer, which I'm not even a good videographer at all. I mean, look, I'm aiming a camera down at a piece of paper. But you know what I mean. There's always going to be somebody. And then, maybe not. Maybe you're that one person who has the world record for something. Diana Nyad swam from Cuba to Florida. You know who I'm talking about, right? That is unbelievable. It's not just that she swam it. If you ever see the movie about her, I don't really remember the name of it, but if you ever see the movie, it wasn't just about her physical ability to do that. It was her mental determination to do that. That's the part that really, really, really impresses me. The mental, the determination, the absolute determination to do that, to make that swim. Now that is amazing. And that determination, that same determination, that determination can be for anything. You know, I don't know if you've tried something over and over and over again like she did, but you probably have. You probably have tried and tried and tried something. All right, I think I need to do, is that dry yet? Yeah, I think I'll do that area now, because I kind of want to work from back to front. So the next area is this area. It's going to be darker, a little more blue in there. And it comes up here. Make sure that's dry so it doesn't bleed. And this definitely has some sharp edges to it. And this goes down into that valley. And again, I'm only using these primary colors. And I use 2 shades of blue. And I'm using white. I'm not using any black. However, I'm not going to rule it out if I feel like I need to. So here's this area here. Goes down. this valley here. And then up here, it touches that area in the back. I may have told you about the couple that is the ones I'm thinking about for this picture. They also lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a while. And they're up there in age. They're in their 80s right now. And he probably can still walk farther than me. He's probably still better at hiking than me. He's super nice, super humble. It's nice to find humble people. There's so many people who aren't humble. The best place to find humble people is in the real world. No, that's not true. You do see humble people in the world of celebrity. I shouldn't categorize anybody. There's no broad brush strokes except for in painting. You can't broad brush stroke people. So I'm trying to keep this a little bit blotchy on purpose, because that's kind of how it is. It's got a lot of things happening on that hill right there, and that hill right there. Alright, let's get back to the next layer. Trying to think how to do this. Alright, let's try to make this darker now. Darker. Right here. I might have to use white to kind of highlight some of the edges here. Probably what I'll do. I think that's what I'll do. But you can see it's starting to happen here. And I haven't even started to put the trees in there. This is a good color that was a happy accident. There's a Bob Ross moment right there. I gotta keep some of that light right there. Yeah, I just want this like very, like almost just like dirty water to fill in the blanks here on this. Let's get that in there so I have something dark to work with. And because it's gouache, it'll be easy to put some light colors over it. Okay, now over here, some of these areas here too. using some darker colors. Well, that might work right there. A little bit of blue and just trying to create the sense that these are large boulders here. Very dark on one side because the light is very stark lighting there. Here. Yeah, I think the purple is working. It's kind of a purple, an accidental purple, another happy accident that seems to be doing a pretty good job of. There's lots of little stones as well as these huge boulders. Distant down in the valley where it's got a lot of growth going on. Some more of that green. And by the way, you notice I'm not going for a clean brush. I don't know that I recommend that or not. That's just my way. Sometimes it's better just to grab a clean brush. Sometimes I regret not grabbing a clean brush, but it's just, I don't know, just my way, I guess. That secondary distant spot to be a little bit more mysterious, I guess. Distant. It's mysterious because it's distant. If you're standing way over there and then looking this way, it probably looks just as mysterious as us looking that way. Isn't that the way it is? If we look at things in the distance, and we marvel at them. We look at distant planets and we say, I wonder what's out there. And we don't even think about our own place, right where we're standing. All right, this is what I kind of want. I want to be adding a lot of things happening here. Just a lot of things. A lot of places where the shadows are just putting character. I like that word, character. Putting character to the painting. How are we doing so far? Just rocks on everything. Some more darkness right here. Oops, we don't want it to be red, really. Alright, once we get all this in here, then we can add some of these foreground trees. Yes, believe it or not, there are actually trees in this picture. So you see that way, way distant, that very distant mountain range in the Sierra Nevada. What was it like when they first walked upon this spot? And they first looked down and out into toward the horizon. It must have been breathtaking. I often think about it. Have you ever gone to Niagara Falls? When they first, I guess many people discovered it for the first time, because if you have never seen it, then it's the first time for you, right? A lot of people. I was with a guy one time in 1977, and he was from Indiana, and he had never seen an ocean, and he drove to California, I guess because he was a young man, and he figured before he starts his college or whatever that he was going to see something. So he had a van and he drove to California, and he worked in a, I'm not even sure if he worked with me or not. I worked in a pizza place on the beach. That's where I worked at that time. I can't remember if he worked there or not, but I met him somehow, and he told me that he had never seen an ocean before. An ocean was a new thing for him, a large body of water. And he said when he first saw the Pacific Ocean, he couldn't believe how big it was. And I was surprised at that, because I grew up on Long Island in New York, and we had the Atlantic Ocean right there, obviously, and I've lived in Florida all these years, so I've had this Atlantic Ocean, the part down here. And but my point is, he saw it for the first time, and he was in awe. It was breathtaking for him. And I have probably some examples of that myself, because I grew up in two flat places, Long Island and Florida. They're both pretty flat. So for me, it wasn't the ocean that was the big holy cow moment. The holy cow moment. The big holy cow moment for me was mountains. And it still is. Still to this day, when I see mountains, I'm in awe. So for you who live in the mountains, you're not. You see them all the time. But I never see them unless I go there. So it's a beautiful world we live in. Well, it's a beautiful earth. If we differentiate between the world and the earth, the world is often referred to as the governments, the people who rule the world, who make the laws and all that. That's the world. But the world is also, the people who make it work. The people, period. The world is the people. All right, I think I got a nice landscape going there. I think there's only two things I want to do. One is to add the trees, and one is to add a little bit extra light. So I'm going to use my little skinny brush. I seem to use these two brushes all the time. All right, so I'm going to try to take some of this white. Let's see if I can get some bright spots on these rocks. Where the sun is hitting it. Give it some more raggedy edges. Yeah, just give it some. There's probably a lot of that happening all over the place. A lot of raggedy edges on the rocks, sharp edges. Even over here. Maybe over here a little bit. Each boulder, as far as painting it, each boulder kind of looks like a miniature mountain. It's one of the things I like about gouache is you can reactivate it. So if you are looking at this video to see how to paint the Sierra Nevada, I guess this is one way. I don't want to say it's the only way though. And I also don't want to seem to suggest that the paint I'm using is the only paint. I have had a number of people encourage me to buy more expensive paint, and I will. But so far, you know, when I do these cards and I send them to people, nobody ever complains that the paint is student grade. So, and ultimately, I just want the picture to look nice, you know. I just want the person who gets the card to say, "Oh my gosh, I know that place. I know where you painted. I walked there. I lived there. That was my home for 40 years. That was where I hiked when I was 24 or 23. That was where I hiked when I first got married, or before the babies were born." People say that a lot. That's where I hiked before the kids were born. So here we have our Sierra Nevada Valley, and I think I'm pretty much done with the white, just little streaks up here. Give it more texture. Little areas where the rock is lit from one side. Alright, now the only other thing I want to do, and I will clean the brush, let's take some of this yellow and mix it with this blue and try to come up with a really nice deep green for these foreground trees here, because there are some right here, maybe darker than that. Let me add some red to it so it darkens it. Here we go. Here are the trees that are in this picture. There's even a little cluster of trees down here. There's even a tree popping up behind this rock here. Believe it or not. A vertical line. Just a wisp of a tree. Here we go, just a few others. Back here there's a few. Let's take some of that white and that yellow and give some a little hint of sunlight hitting the trees also. Hiking the Sierra Nevada. Well, it's not something I will ever do, but I just did it in my mind with you. What do you think? I think we did it, kids. And I think it took me long enough that it's dry. I'm gonna fold it. I don't need to turn off the camera. Usually I turn off the camera and I use my handheld dryer, but there we go. There's the card. I hope it has the look that reminds the man and the lady that I know. Hope it reminds them of their hike. Alright, well, thank you for watching, for subscribing, for all your nice comments, for your suggestions. I will say this again, we are learning together. I am not the expert. I feel like I experiment with every single picture. And this one was no exception. Whoops, I don't have it centered, do I? Alright, I guess that's it. I'll see you later. Bye.